holidays. Let me get one thing set up right here. But happy holidays to everybody. I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. I hope that you are off work. Somebody let you off so you could just relax yourself. Now, don't you go running around to everybody's house because you want some macaroni and cheese. We're not doing that this year. Macaroni and cheese is very easy to make. It is not complicated. And I don't know how people get it wrong. Something's wrong with y'all who don't know how to make macaroni and cheese. I don't know how. Ooh, my macaroni and cheese is dry. I don't know how you made dry macaroni. But anyway, fam, let's get into it. Please hit that like button for me. Please share. Please make sure to hit the bell. If you want to donate, you can go to donatebrown.com, patreon.com/ycarnell, or you can go to $breakingbrown. But never forget all these free ways to help the channel that don't cost you no monies. Just hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit that bell. All of that good stuff costs you nothing. Don't forget that the book club day has been delayed. I didn't even bring it up for today, but do not forget that it's January. So please do not forget that you don't have to rush for December the 10th. I will put it up again soon as the date approaches. Not going to put it up every day though. So please keep that in mind, family. Please keep that in mind. Now, I want everybody to stop talking to me about, Yvette, why do you keep talking about Obama? Well, because let me just tell you this. I'm not listening to nobody who says that ever again in this life and the next one either, because Obama won't go away. The man done wrote, a friend brought it up to me yesterday, that the man done wrote 3 memoirs, and this is part 1. How many memoirs do we need from you, Obama? That means, before we start talking about what the man did at the Breakfast Club, before we get into that, let's just understand that means that this man wrote a memoir before he was anybody and had done anything in his life. I want you to understand that what you're dealing with is a narcissist. Before we even get started, let's understand what you're dealing with and let's walk into it. Okay, Mr. Obama on the Breakfast Club. Now, mind you, Biden is out here trying to get Trump out the White House, trying to figure out what he gonna do. Obama couldn't give 2 cares, child. He out here selling his book, doing your rollout. This supposed to be your time, Biden, right? I ain't no fan of Biden, but if you get elected president, it's supposed to be your time to shine. You can't even shine because Obama is on every network because he like to make money and see himself smile. He like everybody, ooh, look at his teeth. Oh, he's so charming. You can't even have your day in the limelight because this man wants to steal it to sell his book. Ooh, it's awful. Oh, that's awful. No, I'm not going to be nothing. I'm not going to listen. I only showed up to campaign for you them last couple days, and then I ran off, and I said some little stupid stuff to black people. I did the best I could. I don't care. But I'm going to use your whole rollout to sell my book. If y'all don't understand, if y'all don't know a narcissist when you see, if you can't recognize somebody who's only out for themselves, you better learn how to do it today because Obama's going to teach you. Here he was at the Breakfast Club. Now, the Breakfast Club interview didn't go as it should have because there were a lot of people there who couldn't push back on the BS that Obama was pushing. He said a lot of stuff that didn't make no sense. And I kind of want to get to that first before I get to some other things I want to talk about with this man, because what he's trying to do is revise history. Obama understands that he ain't got nothing as a legacy. Nothing at all. The only legacy he got is Obamacare. That's it. You ain't got nothing else. And so I want to go through some of the stuff he said. Because if you listen to the interview, those of you who heard it, he went through a bunch of stuff and made up stuff out of whole cloth about how good he was to the black community and what he couldn't do and why he couldn't do it. And life is hard. So the first thing he said, black incomes are they were the highest at any time in history other than 1968. You a lie, Obama. Why would you lie like that? I mean, why would you tell? I mean, we have data to show that what you're saying is not true. Well, he said the poverty. He said the incomes rebounded and grew the fastest. Then he said something about poverty. He said black poverty was at its lowest rate since 1968. So I have the data to prove what I'm saying, Charlemagne. Well, see, if you make up your own data out of whole cloth, I guess you will. I guess you will have data if you can make it up yourself. But let me just bring up a shot really quickly, because I found a few things, Obama, that kind of dispute the data that you're talking about. Because he also said there were fewer people in jail during my term. There were fewer people in jail during my administration, and it went on the decline. So I can put that in. That's a feather in my belt. You understand, Charlamagne? So, but let me just show you this. Fewer people are imprisoned in the U.S. Now, this chart, pay attention, people. It goes from blue is white male, that orange is black male, and that green is Hispanic male. Now, what you want to see is that, see how black male peaked up and right before the early 2000s, and then it's been going down ever since? Because parole, anklets, whatever. But the point of the matter is the decline that Obama tried to claim as his own has been happening since the early 2000s. Right? How do you claim something that has been ongoing before you got there? I know how you do. You think the people you talking to stupid and crazy. But we're not. We are okay. This trend, Obama, has been happening for a long time. Because it's a general trend, and we are in the trend. We're still disproportionately, in terms of black people, especially black men, incarcerated. But the trend of declining incarceration had nothing to do with you. How you gonna claim it, though? Well, I don't know if you know of it. I do the consent decrees for some cities. What, Obama? You all right? So let's go to something else. He also talks about income. Well, the income rose. Let me just say, before I bring this up, let me say something. One of the problems that Obama did, or one of the little dodges that he used income instead of wealth. Now, we know wealth is a whole ball game. Wealth is the ball game, not income, because you can't build income. You can't build wealth from income no more, because we have such a small amount of the income that's going all the way to the top. We don't have it no more. So we know that, right? He used income, though. He said income amongst black Americans grew the fastest. Well, if you were on the bottom anyway, and your income is like saying you had a penny and now you had $1, so that's 100 times more. Yes, but it doesn't mean anything unless you talk about that in the context of Americans, white Americans, brown whites, all of that. You have to talk about that in the context of that. You didn't do that, and you didn't talk about the fact that ain't nothing changed. What do you mean, Yvette? Ain't nothing changed. Black-white income gaps remain large. Racial gaps in household income persist. Now, we're going to take you through it. Look at those dates. That goes all the way from 1967 to 2014, when Obama was, what was he? The president of these United States of America. I want you to look at that little black line and how it goes up, and it pluck-ups and plops back down. What are you taking credit for? I don't see nothing there. Pluck up, and plop. Now look at the white line, that green line. Oh, look at it move. Right? What is Obama talking about? He is making stuff up out of whole cloth. Obama, the America that you imagine. And even when you talk about wealth, now keep in mind, even when we talk about wealth, you have to keep something in mind. They try to add stuff into the wealth numbers that's not wealth. Antonio talked about this. They try to add in the car, and they try to add in your house shoes, and they try to add in everything. That's not wealth. These are depreciating assets that they add in to try to make it look like we have wealth that we don't have. Ooh, y'all so slick. Y'all play games. Obama's playing a game. And if you want to be sad, go look at some of the Breakfast Club comments. Oh, Obama is really the best thing, and he's the best thing we ever had. Lord have mercy. He been so good to us. He not God. What you mean he been so good? He wasn't good to you at all. If you could add and subtract, you would kind of understand that. No, vet, you don't understand. He been really good. Really? You talking about this man right here? Flint poisoned with neurotoxins, and this man who showed up and took a swig of water he didn't drink, that he didn't swallow, to try to convince people in Flint that actually it's quite tasty, this neurotoxin water. I somewhat like it. You mean this, man? You talking about him? See, Obama said a lot of stuff during the interview which is so problematic. And it's problematic because we're going to have to live through the consequence of his cowardice. And I don't think it's just cowardice. What you see is Obama says a lot of things right. He says, and we're going to get back to all the stuff he lied about, because he straight up lied about all of the data. But he says stuff like, well, people think a president can be a monarch and I can't be a monarch and presidents are monarchs. He's just calling us stupid. We understand that you're not a monarch. We also understand that when you were elected, you had a Democratic Congress and you could have done what you wanted. We understand that before you got elected, they called you and asked you about the stimulus bill, and we're going to get to it. And you supported this Republican bailout, even though Democrats in Congress didn't like it and rejected it one time. We know that's what you did. We were not asking for perfection. Lord knows you ain't perfect. You ain't got to point hard for me to figure that out. I know you ain't perfect, Obama. I know you're mediocre. You hide yourself in nice suits and broad smiles, but I know better. So we weren't asking for perfection. We were asking for you to do something transformative. And that's not on us. You promised us change we can't believe in. And you didn't deliver. You delivered center-right mediocrity. And then you named your book after Dr. King. You had the nerve to bring up Dr. King's name during the Breakfast Club interview. Anybody who is ADOS should be infuriated, because this man cannot carry Dr. King's shoes. You should not be allowed. There should be a law somewhere against that. But let me just, we're going to get to Dr. King too and what you did. Because you are the people, Obama. You are the person that Dr. King railed against. You just don't have enough self-awareness to know it. That's your failure. It's not mine. It got nothing to do with me. You want to talk about wealth? We can talk about wealth too. This is even an inflated number. But look at whites have significantly higher levels of wealth than blacks. I don't even think you can consider that $11,000 is wealth. Now look at the dates on the bottom as I bring that up. Don't that ride right into the Obama administration? Isn't that what it is? We go all the way to 2013. You see that bottoming out? One of the reasons that it bottomed out is because of what happened with the recession. Obama didn't hold nobody accountable. Understand something, that these banks gave us subprime loans, took advantage of us, put us in foreclosure and underwater, and Obama oversaw all of it. And he's in charge of his own Justice Department. He's in charge of his own Treasury Department. He appointed Geithner, who is one of the worst and the most slimiest people to ever head that department. Obama did that. Those were his choices. Don't blame nobody else. Man up with your stuff, Obama, about what you did and who you brought in. Then you bring in Geithner. Then you bring in Rahm Emanuel. Then you bring in all these people who were center-right people because you knew you didn't have what it took. That's my assessment of who you are. You knew you did not have what it took to guide. You were just there. Listen, Michelle Obama said it best. Got to give her credit for it. It's in Barack Obama's book. She said, when he said he wanted to run for president, he had just become a senator. She said, how much is enough? Barack, how much is enough? You know what she meant. Everybody knows what she meant. How much is enough for your ego to be enough? How much is enough for you to feel satisfied? How how much is enough for your career ambitions? Because let me tell you something. If Obama had been a man of the people, she would have said something very different. She would have said, listen, you can't help everybody and you're moving too fast. And maybe there's some other stuff we can do. You can't help everybody the way you're trying to help. You can help in the Senate. The answer that she gave, you can try to explain it away all day, Barack. But the answer that she gave spoke to who you are. You're all about careerist ambition. You love how you move politically, how you can talk to people politically. You love that stuff. You love that part about you. It's a game to you. And you feel like you're better at politics than a lot of people. And you got ambition and you got narcissism. And you love yourself. Ooh, you love yourself. And Michelle said, how much is enough? She knew you wasn't in this for no people. She said, you just got to be Senator. Can we just sit down somewhere and relax? You just want all the thing all the time. You just hungry for power and ambition and for people to see how wonderful you are. How much is enough? And it's still not enough. You're not president no more. You're going to write 10 books about nothing. And you're going to lie. Did he lie? Yeah, let's go to some of the other stuff he said that wasn't true. Even when you look at homeownership more common among whites than other racial ethnic groups. Look at black on the bottom. Now, listen. I want you to look at them dates. We run right into the Obama administration, right? So bring it back up. That takes us all the way to 2015. And we right here. And this man's going to go on the Breakfast Club and say he did some good stuff. He did some good stuff for black peoples. He going to say that. Again, takes us to 2015. Blacks twice as likely to be unemployed. Look at the dates. Takes us all the way to where? 2015. Understand it. Understand what's happening here. Understand that this is Obama. Understand that the reason you lost the Democratic Congress was because of Obama. It wasn't because of all them. Understand how Obama failed to keep that Democratic Congress. I don't know if y'all remember. I don't know if everybody remembers what happens. Obama let them Democrats walk the plank. He came in there and tried to do Obamacare, which wasn't popular because it was a Republican plan that Mitt Romney had put through. But Obama is really a moderate Republican, but you can't win that way. So he had put that whole thing in place, right? So that wasn't good, and people wasn't enthused about it. Then Republicans got a hold to it and called it socialized medicine with death panels. Obama never got a hold to it again and got control of the message. He never did. He spent a year falling all over himself, tripping over his own shoestrings. That was a year wasted. And he lost control of the message. And a lot of stuff happened. And a lot of Democrats were lost because of that. And he wouldn't even campaign. Do y'all remember he wouldn't even campaign for them Democrats? A lot of them Democrats who were in districts and they were going to he wouldn't campaign. He's a selfish, small, cowardly man. He would not campaign for them. Obama wasn't going to campaign for nobody but him. Listen, y'all might have walked the plank because I did something stupid or whatever, but I'm going to get back in here. I'm going to get back in here and I'm going to use my political capital for me. I ain't going to use it for you. Right? And so even when we look at the employment data and you say, well, Yvette, it wasn't as bad as you say. Well, yeah, not only because we got to talk about how Obama ushered in the gig economy, so we don't have jobs, we have gigs, but it's also that way because of, we said, well, more black people had jobs. Y'all are not counting the amount of black men who are in jails and what they make in prison. Factor that in. You got to factor in the amount of black people, but disproportionately, overwhelmingly black men who are in jails, who are taken out of this. Obama let Uber in and Lyft in and all this stuff in so that these people couldn't be counted as unemployment. Then you got a whole bunch of black men already in jail, in prisons, Look at that. Racial disparities in men's imprisonment persist throughout all ages. Look at all that orange as black men. They not in the job force. And if they are, they over there making stuff for $1 an hour. Count them in and see where we at with income, Barack. Come on, Barack. Talk to me. What? Obama said we did well with income, but even when you don't even talk about the prisoners, blacks, let me bring this up a little bit bigger. Blacks still more than twice as likely as whites to be poor, despite narrowing poverty gap. What you said to me? Now we see this earlier, right? But go back to the thing, 2014. Same thing, over and over and over again. The median wealth of black families, we talked about how much of that is the car and other stuff that shouldn't be counted as well. But look at this. Look at these numbers. And Barack out there talking about I sure did help everybody. No, you messed up the unemployment numbers with Uber and Lyft and Instacart and all this other stuff you allowed to be ushered in, because you know what? You're a narcissist. And if they didn't pull that other stuff in, everybody would know. Everybody would know, oh, this man's a whole fraud. Obama's a whole fraud. Look at that unemployment level skyrocket if you don't bring in this gig economy. Everybody go look it up. Everybody from your White House went to work for gig economies. You ain't nothing to black people, honey. And I don't know what you consider yourself to be. And stop writing books. We tired of hearing about you. You ain't nothing special. You ain't never been nothing special. You are mediocre. And you ain't never been nothing good or nothing we need to write home about or feel proud of. If you would just go away, that would be nice. You wrote your book. Now get lost. Scram. Go to what he at? The Hamptons or whatever he is. Scram. Barack. The black home ownership rate has not risen above 50% this century, while nearly 3/4 of white families own their homes. Now, listen to me, Barack, because you had some stuff to say. You see how everything he said just wasn't true? From incarceration to earnings to wealth to nothing he said was true. But the problem is that you can't have the Breakfast Club doing that interview because they don't know enough to know when to check Barack and say, hey, hold on a second, what you just said right there. No, that's not true. That's not the truth. Actually, that's a lie. I heard you just tell a lie. We're going to go back and correct that. You don't want to challenge this man. And even when you challenge him with decent questions, you don't know enough to push back, because the data that he cited, even when he tried to use healthcare, well, this many more black people have healthcare. That's a class-based politics. That's not an agenda for you can put it. Listen, you could put up what? You could put up some kind of credit on the taxes. You could put up a credit and you could say, hey, black people benefited from this credit. That's still a class-based policy. That's not a something that was specifically designated for black people, let alone ADOS people. Stop talking to me, Barack, about class-based initiatives. I don't want to hear about them no more. You added $30 trillion to white wealth. What happened to our wealth? Nobody there that wants to talk about that? Okay, I see what we're doing. I see we're gonna lie our way through this whole interview. Now, let me say something else. Obama said something that was so destructive to politics about coalitioning. He said something to the effect of, and listen, I'm not opposed to coalitions. It's how you enter the coalition that is the issue. You have to enter with your own agenda. And everybody you coalition with has their own agenda. And you figure out, where can we meet to help each other? That's what happens. Obama doesn't do that. See, remember, this is the man who told us Republicans didn't make him do it. He told us that reparations, out of the gate, reparations not going to work because some immigrants might get mad. Obama said that before anybody said anything. He's a quitter. He's a person who gives up early. He got weak legs. I don't know. That's what he is. Because he has this idea, and Charlemagne kind of tried to get to it. Like, why do we have to moderate ourselves, and women get to just say whatever they want to say about feminism or whatever? And Angela Yee stepped all over that. She just stumbled all over herself and bust her lips. But what you have to understand is what Obama is basically advocating is the politics of performance and the politics of cowardice. See, because when Obama says, well, we all have roles to play, and we do, and I'm not going to be Martin or Malcolm, and we know that. We know you will never be them. You're not built that way, and you could never stand in those shoes. But we understand you're a politician. You still have to have the expectation that if you're a politician, that especially if you're a politician and you claim to represent black people, you didn't have to do it that way, Obama. You didn't have to change your whole way of speaking to mimic ADOS. You didn't have to do that, but you did. You didn't have to mimic us and perform and do that, but you did. You stole our whole look, even though you were raised with white people in a white household, and you didn't have you just like Kamala, none of you have any relationship to the black side of your family. You don't have no relationship to your Kenyan daddy. Kamala don't talk to her Jamaican daddy, from what we tell. Y'all are anchored in something else. For you, you're anchored in whiteness. And you're everything that Martin Luther King Jr. despised in terms of that weak white liberal. That's who you are. You are nothing more. You will never be. I don't care how many books you write. You will never be more than that. You could never be more than that because you don't have the character or the courage or the values to be bigger or more than that. You are never going to sacrifice for anything bigger than yourself. And that's what we saw in your presidency. We saw cowardice and coalitioning for the sake of coalitioning without having that foundation. It don't make no sense. Because and let me just say this, in terms of reparations, it's even worse because the debt is the debt. Barack, you and your white mama and your Kenyan daddy don't get to tell us what the debt is. You didn't live it. See, part of the problem, let me just say it. Part of the problem is that Obama doesn't understand systemic racism because he didn't live it. What do you mean, Yvette? He's a black man in America. He had to have lived systemic oppression. No, he didn't. Don't you lie to me and don't lie to yourself. No, he didn't. The most Obama lived was individual incidents of racism, and I haven't even seen any proof of that. But that's the most he lived, meaning you couldn't catch a cab. That's not systemic racism. Systemic racism is tied to lineage. So we had, remember we talked about it. We had an Indian man who came over here and was abused by the police. That was a racist incident. It doesn't make him ADOS, and it doesn't tie him to our lineage. Obama's the same. He doesn't have any lineage to slavery or sharecroppers. He's anchored in whiteness. He's anchored with his white mama and his white grandparents. I could never expect you, Obama, to communicate or understand systemic racism because you have never lived it or endured it. You went to school at that Puna House school with all white people. You had white and diverse friends from different countries, and you had all white girlfriends until Michelle, from everything I've seen. I don't expect you to understand me, and I don't expect you, but you shouldn't have mimicked me and ran as me. You should have run as something else. But everybody has a cheat code, and the cheat code for Kamala and Barack and everybody, the cheat code is I'm just gonna shoehorn myself into ADOS. They don't know. They not paying attention. They stupid. They won't even realize I'm not them. I'm gonna use their political capital and ride it all the way to the White House. I got a bunch of money, 500K, whatever, from my grandmama in stocks. ADOS don't know. They don't understand. I'm gonna ride their political capital all the way to the White House. Oh, we got played so bad. See, the thing is, the debt with reparations, the debt is the debt. You didn't even say the debt is the debt. Yes, everyone needs to. It might be hard, but everybody needs to. No, you said, well, I'm not going to do it because it's not easy coalitioning. You don't like to do stuff that's not easy. You like to smile and ingratiate yourself. That's a problem. You lived through the oppression of your white people, your white family, as an oppressor yourself. And then you want to come in the room and align yourself with ADOS. Nah, King would have said differently. King told us, King was the one who said, I see people wearing African clothes who are descendants of slavery and it don't make no sense. King would have told you about yourself. How dare you? How dare you use something the King said in your book because you're a user and you're a grifter and you're a coward. A coward. You are an accommodationist. Do y'all know? Do y'all know what King had to say about accommodationist? Let's get to it. But let me do this first. Before we get to what King had to say, Obama also said that the number of black families who were poor was at the lowest level since '68. He made up some stuff. He good at making up some stuff. So let's just talk about that. Percentage of black families in the United States who live below the poverty level from 1990 to 2019. So you see 2019 we're at about 16.3, and understand that poverty level is insane because it should be it's so low. It really needs to be raised and show that like all of us are like down here. But you see it in 2014, that's Obama, that's 22%. You see like 2000, wait a minute, let me go here. 2016, 19%, 2015, 21%. Okay, so Obama, what are you talking about? Because it's lower now than it was during your presidency. What are you talking about? Like, what's wrong with you? How are you just making this stuff up? And we even saw like a 19% in like 2000, right? I mean, you can go look up all this stuff yourself. What is he talking about at its lowest rate since what? Since what? He don't care. He just makes up stuff for his own ego. This man is what do you call him? A megalomaniac? What are you talking about, Obama? We've seen it in the 20s for a long time. You were right at 22, 24 around the recession, like 28 in 2008, 19 in 2016, but then 16 in 2019 or whatever. What are you talking about? Like, y'all just let people make stuff up. And let me just say, official poverty rates declines in elderly poverty, but specific disparities remain, even with old people. Like, I mean, I don't understand what we're letting, or why we're letting Obama get away with everything he's getting away with. Let's talk about King for a quick moment, because I said I would. And I want to say something before I say this. Let me just say something before I get to what King said. Obama, he's a politician with tricks. And that's part of why I despise him so bad. And because he uses our trauma against us. So when I see that interview, Obama says something about interest. And he says something about payday loans. Go watch it. It's so disrespectful. He's always been the same crass, careerist narcissist that we see. And he says, yeah, y'all know, it's kind of like how a payday loan just goes up and up and up. And I said to myself, listen, Obama has never had a payday loan. You're not going to convince me of that. He got a bunch of money from his grandmama's stocks or whatever it was. He's never had a payday loan. Why are you talking to Negroes about a payday loan? See, I'm tired of people trying to make friends with us or connect with us through our trauma. That's something that we have to go through because we have no access to capital except for predatory capital. It was Byron Allen who said that, and who was like, and it's like, yeah, that's true. We have no access to capital except for predatory capital. Do not use that, Obama, as a man who went to the Punahou private school with your white family. Do not use that as a way to connect with me. Yeah, you know how it is with the payday loan. Shut up. You are a white man with the Kenyan daddy. You are not a black man with a white mama. You shut up about that, because you ain't never had to do it or deal with it. I'm not connecting with this man, with this brown white, on some predatory payday loan stuff. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And it's disrespectful, Charlemagne, Yee, what kind of name is Yee? Angela Yee, Envy, for you to let him come there and try to connect with us on a pay. Yeah, that's the way the payday loans be. That's the way the payday loans is. Obama ain't never had no payday loan. He never had, so he never been evicted. He was walking around with little skirts on. Y'all remember them little things? It's an article with him, them little Hawaiian things, sarongs he used to wear all the time. The people who said he wore them was his white girlfriends, and I ain't got no problem with any race, but you ain't date nobody black. Until you found out you needed a sister to get to the White House. Don't play games. And Michelle know who you are. She just won't say, because that was her route to the top too. She rode that train all the way to the top. Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourself, but there is no shame in this game. That's fine. Payday loan. This performance. I'm tired of this performance. How long have I got to go watch and see Obama perform? He's talking about, well, you have to get people to come along. And, I'm so disappointed sometimes myself when Henry Gates didn't, what happened? Yeah, you had a beer summit though, Obama. Like, see, it's one thing to say, like, I'm disappointed with how people behave. It's another thing. You didn't, and Obama said something to the extent of, I tried to convince people. I convinced people about systemic oppression, and you have to say certain things to convince people. You didn't convince nobody or nothing. You just kissed the ring of white supremacy, and that was fine for you, because that's what got you where you needed to go. All you did was kiss the ring. That's who you are, and that's all you'll ever be. You know it in your heart. I ain't got to tell you. I ain't got to tell you in your heart of hearts. You know you a small man. I ain't got to tell you that. And I'm not trying to insult nobody. But if you really believe that this police officer behaved stupidly in dragging this crippled Henry Gates off his porch, you don't invite that man to a beer summit unless you're willing to kiss the ring of white supremacy to get you whatever you want to get, which for you is that second term, ain't it? You will sell out anything or anyone to get what you need, Barack. So you are not a person that should ever in your life, you should never bring up King's name, because here's what King said. As the nation, the Negro and white tremble with outrage at police brutality in the South. Police misconduct in the North was rationalized, tolerated, and usually denied, he wrote. Leaders in northern and western states welcomed me to their cities and showered me with praise and heroism, showered praise on the heroism of Southern Negroes. Yet when the issues were joined concerning local conditions, only the language was polite. The rejection was firm and unequivocal. King's words resonate today. See, Obama says better is good. Better is good. King said it ain't. King said we need more than better. King said we need more than accommodationist stuff. We need more than that. King would have condemned the politics of Barack Obama, especially since Barack Obama ran as a black president. He would be the first to condemn you and condemn the use of the promised land language as the title of your book. You are a lineage thief. That's who you are. And Martin Luther King Jr. will be the first to call you out. I know people say we should say, and I say that too, you should say what a dead man would say. But I think King has said enough in his own writings to let me know how this will go. There is a pressing need for a liberalism in the North which is truly liberal, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. told an interracial audience in New York City in 1960. He called for a liberalism that rises up with righteous indignation when a Negro is lynched in Mississippi, but will equally be incensed when a Negro is denied the right to live in his neighborhood. In 1964, Dr. King refused to condemn the Brooklyn chapter of the Congress for Racial Equality plan to create a major disruption by stalling cars on the highways that led to the World's Fair at Flushing Meadows. After all, the goal was to draw attention to rampant inequality in the city, which had long been unaddressed. If our direct action programs alienate so-called friends, he wrote he wrote to in a letter to civil rights leaders, they were never our real friends. And they weren't. 3 years earlier, when 460,000 New York City students stayed out of school to demand a comprehensive school desegregation program, making it the largest civil rights demonstration of the decade, the Times called the day-long boycott unreasonable, unjustified, and violent. And we read this book. Y'all remember this. In his 1967 book, Where Do We Go From Here?, Dr. King noted the limits of Northern liberalism. Negroes have proceeded from a premise that equality means what it says. But most whites in America, including many of goodwill, he wrote, proceed from a premise that equality is a loose expression for improvement. White America is not even psychologically organized to close the gap. Not even psychologically organized. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And that's what Obama oversaw. That's what he did. He oversaw that. He was the person who kind of coaxed the white guilt. And oh yes, we just got to work together no matter what. We got a coalition, even if black folk don't get what we want. We have to, yes, black people, I see you over there. You just got to moderate your tone. And remember when Obama moderated his tone, the Tea Party walked all over him and stomped on his jaw and his forehead. Oh. You just gotta, we just have to be willing to kind of explain things to people. You understand? You have to be with Obama. Listen, Obama, you don't hush. You have to be willing to just kind of explain stuff that people need to understand. You understand? But you didn't persuade people. And understand this. It's not that Obama just didn't persuade people in the White House. He says, well, there are limitations to the White House. Obama, you didn't try to do none of this while you were even a community organizer. Understand that there's really only one clip that I've seen of Obama as a community organizer, and he's telling them to let somebody talk and let somebody speak. You were never transformative. You were never bold. You were really never changed. You were just ambitious. You was just always trying to you realize that you could talk anybody into anything. You ever seen somebody like that and they can talk? I can talk anybody into anything. I'm gonna talk so and so into this today. That's who you were. You were never that person. You projected that person because you read King and you went to Jeremiah Wright's church. You projected that. You never were that. And you and I both know that you're a fraud. That's who you are. You just mimicked ADOSness, and we gave you a mat, a welcome mat to walk in, and you used our welcome mat to come in and access power that you never should have accessed. And the thing that bothers me more than anything, honestly, the thing that bothers me more than anything is the people in the Breakfast Club chat who are talking about how wonderful they are. They don't understand who you are and what you left them with. Look, we may never get that opportunity again in my lifetime. to have any kind of Kamala ain't it. We all know she's just like you. And you paved the road for Trump. People who voted for you and went out for you didn't want to do it. They were disaffected after your presidency because you're a failure. And I honestly believe 100 years from now, people won't remember your name. You know how many presidents we have that nobody remembers their name? Obama will be one of them on the very bottom because he has his only legacy is Obamacare. That's not going to get you very far. Not in this America. I'm so sorry. Not when you have people who are actually moving according to values that they hold dear. You hold nothing dear. That's who you are. You're the accommodationist that MLK found such problem with. Look at this. Black workers have made no progress in closing earnings gap with white men since 2000. Obama just got on the Breakfast Club and just said a bunch of stuff that wasn't true to sell a book. But that's what he does. He's got about 4 books in him. That man left us with My Brother's Keeper, which is a little charity fund. Anybody checked up on My Brother's Keeper yet? Huh? Anybody check up on it? See what it's doing? Anybody heard any success stories? No. Obama did that as just like a little throwaway at the end. And people say, oh man, Obama, My Brother's Keeper. Oh man, I like that. Hush. This man don't care about you. He don't have no affinity for you. He's swirling wine with the diverse groups and the whites in Martha's Vineyard. He don't love you. Never did. He had to go through you though. And he needed you to get to the White House. That's it. Stop buying these dumb books. If I find it in a trash can, I'll read it, but I ain't gonna never buy it. I'm trying to get my blood pressure under control. Make sure I'm not gonna buy this man's book. I know what he gonna say. He gonna try to make himself. It's all about him. He's gonna try to make himself into something that he never was. You took away all of our wealth. And if you don't, I'm not gonna read it now. I don't have enough time to really go into what I had set up. But if you get a chance, read this. Obama the Pretender. It talks about TARP, hemp, and everything Obama could have done during the Great Recession, everything that he didn't do. And at the end, it calls him what we all know. He's a coward. He's a coward. He's a narcissist. That's just what it is. So, fam, we're going to end it right here. Give me a minute to set up the phones, and we will have the conversation. Let me know if you watched the interview. What did you think? What were your takeaways? All of that good stuff. And then we'll come back and we will have the conversation. right, fam. We are back. We are back. I'm gonna go straight to the calls. See what everybody got to say. First, I am going to 623. 623. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
This would be Michael in Phoenix, Arizona, aka Radical Mike.
What's going on, Radical Mike?
Oh Lord, what will we do, and what will we be doing in this space if you weren't here?
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate you.
But you know what? You know what how this all breaks down. This intellectual conversation is always a problem. Because intellectuals' job is to keep their job. And intellectuals are not going to offend, they're not going to defend, and they're not going to give that, like, I'm a leader situation, because leader means that now you got to lead and not just talk. And most of these people have because they're educated. Oh my gosh, they can write so well and they can speak so well, but they're not threatening. And what you do, what people that are realistic do, is they tell the truth and they break down what the intellectuals left out of the conversation.
So wait, So you telling me like intellectuals and academics can't lead movements? Are you telling me that?
Well, I'm not saying that they can't.
They won't?
I'm saying that they want to protect their ability to stay in academia's good grace and white America's good grace. So they're not going to be a Malcolm X. They're not going to be a Martin Luther King that's going to put the target on their back and say, I'm going to tell the truth and lead intellectually. Because at the end of the day, what do we do when a guy says, well, I don't believe in reparation, or it's going to happen, it's a long shot. Well, then that means that he doesn't have a solid enough argument to push white America in that direction, and for his job's sake, he's not going to attempt that and risk losing his job and failing at his reparation quest.
Well, let me say this, fam.
So
I think that, and I'm
so he's going to see.
Yes, I agree with you, but let me say this. I think that goes for a lot of people who have a nice life. I think you're right, though. I think absolutely right about academics and intellectuals, but I think a lot of people who have a nice life. Like, I'm talking about, like, if you set up, you good, you ain't got nothing to worry about, you got your tenure and all of that. What do you want to risk anything? What are you trying to risk stuff for?
But see, they're risking their legacy down the road after they die. Yeah. And what are they going to say about that midstream move that he made? And we are so stuck in what people are going to think. Just tell the truth and let the truth be what it is. Because the way we stand right now, what plan do we have outside of reparation? We know we get reparation, we set, everything is cool. Okay, so let's say at a long shot, that doesn't happen. So what is our plan in spite of that is going to, even when we get that, we're enhanced. So we don't have, when you ask these people to be leaders, you're asking them to say, okay, so what's going to be the black people's next move? And then they got to come up with, okay, well, the next move is, I think this is what we should do. And nobody wants to say what they think we should do.
Because
and then our people are not followers. Even if somebody say, this is what we should do, our people won't listen.
Oh, no, wait a minute. You got to wait, family. Our people are not followers. Oh, let me tell you. Oh, the fam, I want to get up. Hey, listen, I want to get up and dance a jig. I want to get up and dance a jig because we are some rebellious people. You could tell us, hey, I want us to go. I got the compass. It go that way, and they be like, well, I don't. What you mean? Who? Why? I don't know, Yvette. Anybody?
We are a bunch of chiefs are a bunch of chiefs and no Indians. And
wait, no, wait, fam. We're a bunch of Indians. We're a bunch of chiefs with no chief because we killed a chief. We killed our own chiefs.
Bunch of chiefs and no Indians. Everybody got way too many feathers.
Snatch the feathers, fam. Snatch them feathers. Oh, we do it. You know, I feel the Holy Spirit because you told the truth, and I'm not trying to say nothing, but like, don't nobody want to follow nobody. You can give them a perfect plan and say, I have it set. No, I don't want. Yvette, I think your eyebrows ain't right. What the hell?
Let me give you my country down south from Alabama analogy of how following works. When you look at a NASCAR race, you put a guy in the lead that says I got it, and then everybody else get behind him and they push and they say, boy, you better have it because we pushing. We all line
you
up
ain't got it, I got
you, and we giving you more momentum, and we getting ready to cut through everything. As long as you say you got it, you got the steering wheel, we pushing, and we can't do the NASCAR. We can't push. We can't follow. We can't get in a line and line up and say we going this way and this way we going, and don't nobody fall out of line like we at the roller skate ring.
No. What we do, Carl, is why you at the front of the line? Well, no, I'm not trying to do nothing negative. I've been doing it and I built it and I'm trying. Oh no, you got to and then you got a million people at the front of the line.
Everybody's fighting for the front of the line. Now we got 12 lines deep and stuff, and we can't, and ain't nobody winning because we all lined up side by side. Can't nobody get no momentum because everybody's trying to get in front. I want to be in front. No, you don't be in front. No, I want to be in front.
And who are you? Nigga, who told you to be up there with that? I ain't even about that. I ain't with that today. You gonna have to move. Wait a minute. Why? Because we're all winning. No, I don't care. Why you trying to shine on me? What you mean?
Oh my God, you looking better than me. You in the front, but you right behind me. I wouldn't be in the front if you wasn't behind me.
Child. You done said a word, man. You done said a word today. I'm just
telling our intellectuals aren't logical. They're not rational, and they are not going to rock the boat.
No.
They like floating in that nice house and doing well, and they're not gonna let Mr. Charlie cut their TV show off, cut their book rights off. No, they're not going to do any of that because they don't depend on us for their support.
They don't depend on us. And what they do, they're going to say just enough to get the book sales off, right?
Enough.
But that's not enough.
Enough.
What it takes to get the book sales off ain't what it takes to get the revolution off. That ain't the same thing. That's what they're going to do, though.
No, they not doing no revolution. You say revolution and they going to start sliding to the side. They're going to give you the side eye. And they're going to start sliding to the side and trying to get, and they don't even want to be in the same picture frame with you in that revolution.
No, they're going to say, I tell you what they're going to say from, they're going to say, well, I don't know, Yvette is just way too radical sometimes. That's what it's going to take, though, to get reparations. Go ahead, fam, I'm sorry.
As much momentum as ADOS has right now, everybody that is an intellectual should be online with ADOS. We are the future. I call it. A friend of mine used this term a time ago. We the flavor of the future. We the flavor that ain't even came out yet, but it's gonna be fire when it comes out, and you getting a prerequisite of it right now. Mm-hmm. And all of Black America need to just When James Brown said, "Stay loud, I'm black and I'm proud," we didn't have no problem being black. Mm. All right, so now you need to be ADOS and proud, and you don't need to have no problem being that. I don't need to have to convince you of that.
Ain't that something?
It's a problem that we have to try to convince our own people of who we are.
Ooh.
Slavery was a BIT whatever.
And let me tell you, fam, I have less of a problem sometimes convincing white people. Like, it's ADOS because that makes sense. I see that. Black people will tell me, well, I don't know. Well, see, what you mean when you say slave? What you think I mean, Jerome? What you mean? That's what I mean. God,
you know what? The analogy that you used, the great one, is like your great grandfather owed my great grandparents some money, and he handed it down to his grandson, handed it down to his son, and now here I am, my great great grandparents' son, saying, "Look, bro, you need to give me that money that you didn't give my great great grandparents back in the day that they worked for, and they handed it down to you, and I got to have that money."
Y'all need that.
Because people act like that. People act like that money is not here.
Yeah.
They act like all of that slave money, all of that King Cotton money ain't still here in America. All of that AIG insurance company that used to insure slaves, now they insure everything. They still here, and they still have our cash, and they still.
Well, and you still, and let me just say this. I'm gonna let you go, caller, but you've been a great call. Let me just say this too. Not only do they still have our cash, they still have our lives. Because that cash is our life.
Oh, Lord, you talk about in the good hands, people that ain't got good hands. They definitely got our lives in their hands every second of the day. We do not have our own lives. And when people say, what can we do? We can do what Martin Luther King tried to get them to do. Just obey the Constitution. That's all I want
do
you
what
to
you
do.
said on paper.
Constitution.
If y'all can't find that speech, go find it. King said at the beginning, I think that's the way he had to get set down. We talked about before. King said, do what you said on paper. Constitution is the paper.
Yes.
That's the paper. All that's the paper. Do what you said on paper. Ain't nobody asking you to do nothing wild and crazy. Stop acting like you sick.
No. Just all men are created equal and endowed with certain. You know, I use Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, which really nails it. And when he said, 407 years ago or so, our forefathers brought forth on this nation a new continent conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Then he said, we're on a battlefield testing whether this nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated could long endure. With this melting pot, us all together when one side is lying all the time, that's why the melting pot ain't working when the Irish potatoes keep trying to jump out of the pot.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate that. Thank you, fam. I'll let you go, but you on point, fam.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Oh, I appreciate you, fam.
That was a great call. Thank you. It's been 70 years. I'm 70.
You what? You what, fam? Oh, he must have dropped out. I'm going to 310. What's going on? You there, 310? Oh, there you go.
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
What up, Pat? I sent you two images while you get those two. Can you pull up that unemployment data? Because I want to make sure everybody gets the context of of how it's so ignorant. I got to read this to you guys just to make sure that you understand it. To determine if someone is in poverty or not, the government uses a threshold developed in the 60s. At that time, the government estimated that food was about 1/3 of the average family's expenses to be considered in poverty. Then, having a pre-tax income less than 3 times the U.S. Department of Agricultural estimate of a bare minimum food plan. This calculation has remained unchanged over the decades, save for adjustment for inflation. In 2018, the poverty line was $25,465 for a family of 4, 2 adults, and 2 children. And the official poverty rate was 11.8%. That threshold and other government poverty statistics do not reflect the economic reality of today. The calculation doesn't take into account housing, transportation, childcare, or medical costs. It doesn't consider geographical differences, even though cost of living varies significantly across the country. So what Obama is doing is a fraud. And you know, when we look at the Breakfast Club and, you know, we come back to this first level that I continuously believe is important, I don't believe Charlamagne has the education to have this conversation. and it shows up. He's basically picking little parts from our shows and then trying to just ask the first couple questions. And you're the wrong person asking the question. That's why you don't know how to deal with the answer. I would have gutted Obama. And I don't mean that physically. I mean, from what his answer was, I would have gutted him and Yvette would have gutted it. Because that's what he deserved. I want to pull up the Uber chart first. Because I want to talk about Uber a little bit. What you saw on Yvette's chart was that Uber comes about under Obama. Uber is basically a payday loan service for your car. So basically, you liquidate your car while you get Uber. Essentially, what ends up happening is Obama then transitions that, and if you could pull it up, because I want to make sure that I show them exactly what you were saying earlier.
Hold on, I'm getting it.
What you see is that in 2016, first of all, Uber never should have existed. There's no way your mama and daddy would allow that to exist in their life, but somehow it's okay to exist in ours. It is a shutting of 100 years of labor laws, first. And second of all, it ain't even paying you no money. I don't care what calculation you're using. You really should have an accountant to do that, to count depreciation properly. But it wasn't supposed to be counted as labor. So on one hand, Obama is not counting labor properly, because what he starts to do is he welcomes Uber to the driver market. That's partnering that, leading into Trump. He handed Trump a golden ticket to make it look like black people were more employed than they were by counting Uber towards the end of his presidency to boost the way it looked on his way out how black people were doing. Uber it's a gig job. It is the kind of job that you do when you leave high school, that black people particularly should not be doing after building America. Understand that Uber comes about because Tom Perez, who is now the head of the DNC, who was then the labor secretary for Obama, allowed for these companies to circumvent, no different than what we saw with the proposition here in California, laws that are set in place to protect workers, and most importantly, who they protect is black workers. Grievance processes. Understand pay minimums. Understand certain treatments. Understand all kind of things that are built into these labor laws that you don't have to provide people because it's a gig. But then you count them in the labor numbers, and it makes it look like people that are really unemployed. I hate to say it. You run around here driving Lyft 4 a.m. in the morning, you ain't employed. These people unemployed don't show up as unemployed. On the other side, Yvette made a great point where she showed, understand, she showed you certain numbers. The numbers I had it as high as 6,000 to 8,000 per 100,000 for young black men. Black women are at 300 per 100,000. Understand what we're saying when we say per 100,000. That means that it's so small it doesn't break a percent. A percent is 1,000 per 100,000. Black men are at numbers we've never seen, so you got to count their numbers in the wage data. So you're not counting the employment data right because of the gigs. Then you're not counting the wage data right because of the incarceration and a number of other factors. And then go back to what I pointed out at the beginning. You don't count poverty right because you're not assessing against time. The caller before me said a point, and I want to make sure everybody understands, because I don't think that Adolf has made this point clear. Now we can pull up the economic chart, the whole thing at once. Dr. King, Yvette quoted earlier, showed us a whole view on equality. But what we don't understand right now, the gravity of the moment, and this is the most important part, I'll tell you. This comes from an Edward Wolf working paper in 1989, the top chart. You've seen the bottom chart before. What we don't understand now is that Dr. King wasn't talking about this world that we live in now. Can you shrink it so we can see the top part too? Dr. King is talking about a world where people only are separated by billions, not trillions. It's a lifetime difference though. In one lifetime, we have moved from a world where, according to this Edward Wolf chart that I have, that Yvette's pulling up right now, at the top of that, what we see is that all of household wealth in 1962 was around $473 billion. That's it. This is one lifetime, though. We're not talking about a transition of hundreds, or let alone even 1,000 years. In one lifetime, we're going from Dr. King talking about inequality in the context of a $473 billion household wealth America versus we live in $100 trillion. That's not, I don't know if everybody understands. That's why we're telling you need reparations. I don't know if you're going to wait to the moment where it gets really, really obvious, and maybe it is for some of y'all already, but that's only like it's not enough years between us. It's 60 years. That's one person's life. You're not supposed to go from a society that is unequal, unfair, where they're splitting $473 billion to a society where you can see the course of movement. I've told you guys before. There's $2 trillion in household wealth in 80. There's $25 trillion in 89. By the time we get over to our lifetime, they have $100 trillion. And who gave them 35 of it exactly? Barack Obama. So Barack Obama gives white people $35 trillion. Understand, let's back up one more step, Yvette. Why it's so important? Because the caller before you, he said something. He said that dollar, it's not a dollar. I don't even know how to contextualize how that dollar multiplies into clouds and clouds of dollars. Because what you see is from slavery to 1962, the U.S. economy only expanded to $473 billion. From Dr. King until Adolf, it went to $100 trillion, and $35 trillion happened under Obama. You have an interview where Charlemagne does not ask Obama about Uber. He does not ask Obama about giving white people $35 trillion. All he can do is regurgitate the very surface level of watching my goddamn show. What we need right now is to understand that they gotta go. They're not educated enough. They don't know enough. They don't understand what's going on. Even in some instances, you know, you brought up Dr. King in terms of his lifetime. He could not understand what's going on right now. His world was only $473 billion high. Ours is $100 trillion. What are you going to do in $100 trillion world? That's how I'll leave it at that.
$100 trillion world. Thank you, Tony. Tony, I appreciate it all the time when you call in. I appreciate you. Yeah, that's what the world is. That's what the world is now. And somehow, you know, I say just like the worst thing was like, if you haven't done it, just go look at the comments and see how many of those comments are complimentary. You know, just go look at that and see how many. Oh, Obama it's kind of heartbreaking. And so you realize a lot of people are going to get left behind. And like we did what we could. We're going to move with who we're going to have to move with, right? But you know, when we get reparations, everybody got to shut up and realize who got us here. And you don't get to tell ADOS nothing. We got everybody here. Hush. Anyway, let me go to my next caller. I'm going to 920. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
What up? What up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's a little white noise going on, but I can hear you.
What's up? Hey, my name is Alonzo. I'm calling from Sheboygan. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you all right.
Okay, so I got the tail end of the show, but I did watch the Obama interview.
Okay.
And man, I was just highly offended. You know what I mean? That this guy comes off so docile, or so, I don't know. I can't really explain how he comes off, but he comes off to me like a snake or something. You know, that's the best way I can describe him. But you know, I just want to say, you know, I don't want to be too long. I live here in Wisconsin. I watch the shows every week.
Appreciate you.
I'm an 80s baby.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I get you fine, fam.
Okay, my bad. But, you know, I'm just now getting into this 80 thing. Okay. And, you know, I'm just so thankful for what you guys do. Could you do me one favor, right?
Go ahead.
You shout out my homies that I've been trying to convince. I've been trying to convince my homies D. Monty and my brother Antoine that they need to get with Ado. So you tell them from your voice, hey, they need to, you know, join
What's
the movement.
What's their name? D. Monty and who?
D. Monty. And my brother Antoine and my cousin who works for the Democratic Party, Artisha.
D. Monty, Antoine. Listen.
Hey, that's all I want.
Hey, appreciate you.
Thank you so much,
no,
man.
Appreciate
I got
you.
much love for y'all. Y'all keep me going, man. Shout out to y'all 806.
Peace, man. I appreciate you. Hey, listen. The Monday, Antoine, all y'all, you ain't got no life if you don't get on board with ADOS. Ain't nothing else to get on board. Everything else you trying to do is a fool's errand. So just get on board so you don't have to get on board late. Get on board early because this is the extension of the civil rights movement. This is what Dr. King had envisioned. Now, you might not see it now. You know, we early birds. Well, you're going to see it soon enough. You want to be early, you want to be late. That's the only question. That's really the only question. Anyway, I'm going to my next caller. I am going to 346. 346, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Beth. This is Liz from San Diego.
Hey, Liz. What's going on with
Black
you?
Tinkerbell. Hey, how are you today? How are you?
Can't complain.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I said I can't complain. I'm good.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. I was watching some of the Breakfast Club interview, or listening to it rather,
okay.
And one of the problems that I have with how Obama tries to come across is that when he wants to get us to do things, he turns into that black preacher. You know, he tries to mimic that voice that he knows that we're used to. You know, he starts singing the songs and doing all the little things that are symbolizing black culture, but he's never lived it. And I noticed that early on in his presidency, that his experiences in life is a downfall to us because he's going to make policies off of his experience. And it's not black ADOS Americans. It is the people from where he's from, who he went to school with, PWI, all of that. So I just started noticing early on. So I didn't vote for him the second term. I was not feeling him by the time it came around. I was done with him. You know, I was looking suspicious at him when he was, you know, debating with John McCain. Like, how do you get whooped by John McCain? Like, out of all people. And
people don't remember all those debates. People don't remember all those
turning his back on Jeremiah Wright. And we let him get away with it. And so he knew he could go on the Breakfast Club, sit down with Charlemagne, and they're going to act goofy and do all, you know, try to act professional, but ask goofy questions, sitting there and let that man say, he specifically said, well, what did you specifically do for black people? And he ran all the way around it with no pushback. And he gets to do that over and over and over again. Because my thing is, if you're a real black man, nobody had to ask you anything. Nobody should have to tell you anything about what black people needed. You should have went in there ready day one to make changes, like how Biden's ready to give, you know, to tackle immigration day one. Like, that should have been something, the first thing off of his list. So to keep hearing him say, I wasn't the president of Black America, is very offensive. And if I ever see that man, he's gonna know how much he has offended me.
Well, you know what? You know what, family? What else I will say? I will say actually too, though. Like, if somebody asks you, like if somebody has to ask you what you did for black people and you were in office 8 years, you obviously didn't do nothing. Because nobody should have to ask you, well, what did you do for black people? What do you say to people? That's not the question you should have to ask. It should be apparent he did this, he pushed it. Even if you don't get everything you wanted. Like, we should know exactly what you fought for. We don't know what you fought for because you didn't fight for anything as it pertains to us. That's why the question exists.
I mean, he didn't even go to a friend or a congressman or something under the back door. You know how we are. We always got to hook. He didn't even hook nobody up to make it seem like they said it if he was scared to say it.
And you know what else he said, family? He said, no, let me just say this. He said that, like, black business improved. Obama, you gave less small business loans than George W. Bush. What are you talking about? The man just told a bunch of falsehoods and everybody just let it fly.
Just keep letting it fly. Yeah, you know, it's sad. You know, I'm glad that a lot of people are starting to see, you know, it's really getting harder and harder as the days go by to defend him. let him keep writing, let him keep telling the lies, because people are starting to see through it. And he's irrelevant, really, at this point. Trying to, even, I don't care about Biden, but trying to even jack Biden's, fame and everything. Biden just won, and here you are running around town promoting your book like the narcissist that you are. But they do say the point system of serial killers and narcissists like Obama are very, very close on the numbers. And he just comes off as that type of person. He'll do anything and say anything.
Do whatever.
To be successful and to be known. And that's bad. He needs to see a therapist. He really does. He has just really hurt us, huh?
No, I'm just laughing. I agree with you, though. He's a narcissist.
Yeah. So, really, because you pretty much, everything he said about him is what I say about him all the time. I told my daughter I was calling in, and she was like, I know you got a lot to say, but I really don't have too much more to say because you covered it all. The things that this man has been doing and has done to us, it's reprehensible. And the fact that, somebody every time he comes on, that's my president.
Yeah, shut up.
It just makes me sick because, he did nothing for us, and then say, well, what was he supposed to do? Dang, he didn't even, something. He didn't even try. What did he do for DACA?
You know what?
For LGBTQ?
Yeah, the same thing he did for every, the same thing every president. Y'all saw how Trump with his crazy self went in there and just did all kind of stuff. He didn't care. Like, you could go in there and not care. You had a Democratic Congress.
With a pen.
Yep.
With a pen. He didn't even need any, backings, or he just went in with a pen and did what he needed to do.
Yeah, well, Obama used a pen with DACA.
Like, you could have did something.
Obama used a pen with DACA. Okay, so he didn't use a pen for us, but he used a pen with DACA. So that tells us everything we need to know about where he was coming from. So, thank you, fam.
I appreciate your time, and y'all have a lovely evening out there, family.
Happy holidays, fam. I appreciate you.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, Obama knew what he was doing. He ain't playing no. I gave a bunch of Chicago kids my books. Did you stop Rahm Emanuel from closing a bunch of schools in Chicago? Like, you just gonna get them their book during COVID? Oh, you so awful. I hate people who don't even understand how awful they are. Like, I'm really awful, but I have no idea that I'm a prick. I'm going to 941. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette. This is King down here in Florida, Sarasota.
Hey.
I take a little bit from Tone what he just said. I would have gutted President Obama. Just through the teachings of Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore and others. President Obama was just definitely off when he was trying to refer to that speech by Dr. King, I've been to the mountaintop. And I knew that speech verbatim, and he was just fumbling around with that speech, and it was highly offensive. Also, when Charlemagne said, does the Democratic Party owe black people? And I was waiting on him to at least say something. They owe us everything, but he went all around it. He brought in other people and other races and other. And he just missed that so bad. And,
he didn't miss it. He didn't miss it. He didn't want it.
Yeah, he just missed that one so bad. And I'm getting sick and tired of these interviewers. These are not the right people to be interviewing President Obama or any president, because they just don't go far enough. And President Obama just dancing and flopping around. It was very disheartening. I'm sick of it, and we have to go. I know Dr. King was saying those liberals only go so far. I think it was the letters from Birmingham when he was saying they only go so far, and that was on display. At least you owe us everything. Everything we given up so much. Our ancestors and for our vote, and to get thrown in with everybody else, it's just disheartening.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's disheartening. I absolutely agree with you. And the problem becomes when you look at the comment section, when people, you got black people still in love with this man, and he didn't do anything but throw all of us, ADOS, under the bus, used us as a come up and threw us under the bus, and y'all still in the comment section talking about how wonderful he is. Like everybody needs to come to terms with the fact that everybody ain't gonna make it with us. Like just let that notion go now. Everybody ain't gonna make it, and it's all right. I can tell from those comments. Listen, I can understand if you felt that way. I voted for Obama the first time, not the second time. But I can understand if you felt that way back in 2007, 2008. But if you still this stupid today, I don't think you're gonna make it with us. You're not gonna make it. You might get reparations because you fought for it, but you're not gonna make it to this threat, and you might not make it to the reparations point. You might not. You're showing signs of intellectual dysfunction. You're showing signs of you got caught up in some stuff that's not political. You might not make it. And I think we all have to make peace with the fact that where we're going, there are people who just won't make it there.
Yeah. Well, I know when I saw him, when he did that speech at Morehouse, and he was telling everybody, save your money and don't spend this, and don't, you're at Morehouse, this is the elite.
Yeah, but he loves to talk down to us.
He's not in touch.
Yeah, but he loves to talk down to us because a large segment of white America loves that, because they think of us as culturally deficient anyway. So any black person who co-signs that we're culturally deficient kind of assuages their guilt. So I don't have to feel so guilty about what I have or what I don't do for black people, because Obama told me that they're culturally deficient. That don't make no excuses. You would not go to any other school and tell people who are graduating. These people who are graduating from HBCUs have done more to graduate and to get to that point than anybody in any other school. And you tell them no excuses. They know there are no excuses because they got here. You, Obama, is the person who needs to be told that. You the one who grew up under a coconut tree and in Kansas. You the one need to be told that, not these men. You didn't grow up with these men, though. You're not a part of where these men came from. The majority of them, not all of them, but the majority of them. You don't know enough to even talk to these men. And then you get there and you disrespect them. And the sad part is many of them was crying and didn't even know they'd been disrespected.
They didn't even know. Well, I'm going to end it like this. That King would be very disappointed. This interview missed the mark. And I thank you for your call.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. And let me just say this. I don't think King would be just disappointed in Obama. I think King would be disappointed in us. The fact that we allowed this kind of fraud to be perpetrated on us. The fact that we didn't learn nothing from him. When he said descendants of slavery. When he said stop dressing in African clothes. That's not your culture. That's not who you are. Not nothing disrespectful to nobody else. That don't mean nothing. Let people have what they have. They own what they own. That's their culture. It's not yours. We threw King away and adopted a whole bunch of mishmash stuff. And I think he would be disappointed in what we did. I think he would be disappointed in how we got here. Just me. Anyway, going to my next call, I am going to 310. 310, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. This is Harold calling from McDonough, Georgia.
What's going on with you?
I want to talk to you about that interview. I saw a clip of the interview on Twitter, and I just saw a clip, but I said, they not going to dig. They ain't going to go in because, Charlamagne, he has a laptop when he's on the show, and he'll look people up right then and there. And he gut. I've seen him gut somebody like Lil Mama and make her cry, And I just think that he wasn't going to ask. They didn't even ask no follow-up questions. No, they just let it ride out.
Let him go, yeah.
So I just think for us though, Obama. I saw it in 2008. He ran his whole campaign off of King, and it changed and all this other stuff. But then when I heard his inauguration speech, he said he rolled the train. I think he said something like he rolled it the same path that Abraham Lincoln. I said, wait. Did he take a turn somewhere? And I don't even think he mentioned MLK in his inauguration speech not one time that I can remember.
That inauguration speech was so forgettable. I don't even remember. It was the most forgettable speech I ever heard. That's how I knew he wasn't going to never do nothing. That little speech didn't say nothing. I said, this is for the birds.
I knew the same thing. And then, remember when he was going to get it, when he gave that money to the banks, he told them people that he was going to let them use the honor code
he gave the bank robbers the honor code. I was like, wow.
Yeah, do what y'all
do you remember that?
Yeah, because what people don't understand is, he was trying to Obama was trying to make a way for his life after. And he don't want to, like, he's never been, like, he don't want to make nobody mad. Like, that's not what he does. He's the person who comes in the room and say, yeah, we can all get together and I got to behave. Like, he doesn't understand the banks are the banks and you're a Democrat. And these people have done horrible stuff. They have exploded the economy and they need to be held accountable. And this is a moment where we can hold them accountable, nationalize some stuff, give some stuff back. They've given subprime mortgages and all this stuff to black people. We can really get them now. Obama said, no, he don't do none of that. Because he doesn't feel that was, being a justice, advocating for justice and using his power for justice was not what Obama wanted to do. He wanted to use his power to advocate and ingratiate himself to the elite, and that's what he did. And that's why he's a failure.
Absolutely. And you know how sometimes you can look at somebody and when they talking and when they trying to get all their lives together, it's like they're reading off the teleprompter or something. I felt like he was doing it in his head the whole time. Like, it was the weirdest thing. But then he also put us down again. He said, that Negro said something about the barber shop. If you go in the barber shop, the average person and you ask them about a filibuster, they ain't gonna know what that is. I was like, wow. For real?
Barbershop, payday loans. He know how to talk to Negroes. He throw all the Negro stuff, barbershop, payday loans. He throw all the Negro stuff at us. Change the way he talk, all that stuff. Child, we so tired of you. I'm tired of you. I know it's at least a strong 15% of us that are tired of you.
I'm sick of them, actually. I really wish all of them. It's like, this is when I got involved in the 8 Hours movement, I said, this is some hard work. Because your own people, like all my family, except for my sister, they don't even register. Like, when I'm talking, I done got, chopped on Instagram and everywhere. When I started putting up pictures and stuff, they told me I was being negative. I was like, wow, I didn't even know there was a thing about when you're talking about politics that you can be negative or positive. It's just the facts. I'm giving you the facts and you can go look it up. But they don't want to look it up. They want to argue with me. They want to say, whatever. And like you said, everybody can't come with us. But I just find it so interesting how these people seem like they spiritually dead. I mean, it's like they don't get an intuition about something. They don't get a feeling. They don't get nothing. But it's kind of like the music. They just hear a beat and they just start dancing all around. Jump, buck jumping or whatever they do. And that's how I think that we have. I mean, a lot of us have become. They just spiritually dead. That's the only thing I can say because they can't even feel it in their body. But somebody lying to me, I can feel it in my body. I'm like, whoa, dude. I can just feel it. But it's just me though. So.
Yeah, he was searching. He was scrambling. Like, I could see him scrambling. I was like, oh, he's scrambling for this. He's scraping around for this answer. He's trying to find some data that ain't real or don't work. He's gonna cobble together some mess. And he did. But yeah, I think it's funny. I think a lot of people really are kind of, I would call it brainwashed. They just kind of brainwashed into, they believe that, and they're not gonna let you, because if you tell them, if they understand that they were wrong, they have to deal with, like, okay, I was wrong for 8 years. Like, how was I this off? And they're not willing to accept that truth about themselves. We all had to accept the truth. Oh, no. This was all wrong. This was wrong. And even before, like I said, in 2008, I voted for Obama, and I had a friend tell me, Yvette, don't you know? And that was the first trigger for me. She was like, don't you know if this man, I was like, no, he's black. She was like, Yvette, if he really was, he wouldn't be here. Like, look into it. And I was like, when I looked into it, I was like, oh, this is kind of questionable. Then he got inaugurated, and he didn't say nothing. It was just, you knew it was going to be just a center-right feels day. So I think a lot of people just don't want to own their own failure, whether political failure or intellectual failure, or that they got snookered by propaganda. They're never going to own it. Obama makes them feel good, and feeling good is the most important stuff to them, is to feel good. That's what they at.
But I guess you're right about that, because I guess it's why a lot of people, on drugs and stuff, they just want to feel I don't know what they feeling, but it's the craziest thing, like, to try to talk to our own people about it, and they won't look it up. They don't want to, they don't want to enter it in their head. They won't even let it go in. They won't even process it, and that's a problem. I said, we got a problem, because these people ain't even processing information. They just go out for,
they're doggone there fight you. They're doggone there fight you about it. They're doggone there jump you. They're doggone there punch you in the temple about it. What you hit me for? I ain't did nothing to you. You just negative. I'm just telling you that this is just politics. Everybody critiques politicians. What's wrong with you? You new to this? So anyway,
yeah, and I was having a conversation with my friend brother, and he said, you just dumb. I said, wow, I'm dumb. I'm giving you data. Where's yours? And when you say something about data, I don't have to go off of it. I remember I was unemployed when Bush was in office. I remember when Obama got in there, I got a job. I said, well, how did you calculate that? What happened?
Yeah, how do you tie your job to Obama? How do you tie your job to Obama? Did he call your hiring manager? Tell me something. I'm missing something. Let me know. It's all right. Tell me what I'm missing. You just make Obama's good because you got a job during that period. You didn't have a job during. Did he call somebody? Well, did he do your recommendation? Like, let me know. If he did, okay. Then he's responsible for your job. What you mean? I don't understand what people try. I don't know what people mean. But thank you, fam. I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling in. You're right.
Thank you.
No, thank you, fam. I think we got a lot of people that's just brainwashed and they just fall for the propaganda instead of thinking for yourself. Just like Obama performs for the white gays, they just perform for the propaganda. This is a problem. Anyway, let me go to my next call. I am going to 202. I'm coming to you. 202. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? You there, 202? Oh, still got this one. Hold on 1 second. I still got the same one. I don't know why my calls keep messing up like this. Hold on 1 second. All right. Now I'm going to 202. 202. What's your name? What's going on? How you doing?
I'm good, sis. How you doing? You okay?
Good. I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm COVID free, so that's good enough for me these days.
Now we need people like you fighting a good fight and putting out the word. I just cannot for the life of me understand why us black folk are still standing for Barack Obama. Like, I'm in Chicago, and that man has torn his eyes as far as we're concerned. Ooh. Like, the only thing he did for us was drop off crooked-ass Rahm Emanuel.
Language, I understand, but language.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
He just dropped off Rahm, put that imp chick, Lori Lightfoot, made sure she got in office. They even tried to build a library on our public.
No.
In our public parks next to the lakefront. They tried to build an Obama library, but before it was even built, they started raising the rent around South Shore. And so we fought against that. And we were like, well, what's the library going to do? They're talking about it's going to have jobs, in Jackson Park. Come on.
Okay.
And so
what's Jackson Park? You said in Jackson Park. Come on. What's Jackson Park?
Yeah. Over there by Hayes Street Beach on 53rd Street.
Yeah, but I mean, what's that community like? What's that community like over there?
So South Shore is a very nuanced community in that you have upperly mobile black folk and black folk that like how things are. You got crackheads, you got homeless, but we all coexist and we all respect each other.
Okay.
So it's not a problem. I mean, you got a high-end vegan restaurant next to a cafe, Sarah's Cafe, and that whole strip is owned by black folks. Okay. Mostly, I think all women except the vegan cafe, which is owned by a black married couple.
Okay.
So you got that dynamic going on. You got a lot of things going on here. But the fact is that it's a lot of people out here on Section 8, and a lot of people out here are, just regular old black folk. This is a sundown town for white folks. They trying to get in because this is prime area. It's near South Shore Cultural Center, which used to be a country club. A lot of black folk don't even go in there because they don't even know what it is because it's so elaborate. They don't even realize that they're free to go. That is Chicago Park District. Everything is there is free. And there are people who've lived here all their lives and never been there.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, like, this man has been, we put him in office. We literally put him there. And he has done nothing for black folks ever but give us a sense of pride when he got elected. And I'm not going to lie, I fell for it. I didn't get awakened until this year. And, I cried my ass off. I'm sorry. Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. I cried because, it takes a lot to be awakening. Like the caller before me was saying, I got people in my family that just don't get it. And I see how destructive that mindset is when you're trying to speak the truth. And they're like, no, I don't want to hear it. Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear it. Forget all of that. And it's like, man, you know what? We're at the helm of our own demise. These white folk ain't doing nothing for us. We're trying to understand why we are.
Wait a minute, fam. Sometimes you say something and you gotta just pause for a second. You said we're at the helm of our own demise. Ooh, that's deep. I'm gonna let you go on, but I just had to slow you down and repeat that. Now continue, fam.
Oh, that's okay. Cause like I look around these neighborhoods and I'm like, y'all got a problem with the police. You got a problem with the police coming in here and asking you questions and treating you like you are, but you don't realize this is your neighborhood. This is you. You're scared of you. You're so scared of you, and you want somebody to come in and police you, and you don't even police yourself. This is all you. So it's so much going on here. When that little boy that was 16, Laquan McDonald, got killed, police officer shot him 16 times. Obama didn't show up. He didn't show up for nothing. He never has shown up for anything, any murders of black people. As a matter of fact, Trump said, okay, I'm sending the National Guard to Chicago. Oh, my God. Ron and Obama was like, oh, no, don't send them. But, they don't realize the National Guard wasn't coming for us. They were coming to police the police. Because the police were going to cave and tell them really what's going on. And so the chief of police just got fired this year by Lori. Because they talking about he was sleeping in his car because he had been partying. He pulled over and went to sleep. They talking about they fired him because of that. That man was getting it in. He was getting it in. He was trying to eliminate all these crap people, and they fired him. And they got a patsy in there. And this is all Obama. Obama has destroyed Chicago just like Cuomo is destroying New York. Just like them people in California destroying LA, destroying our cities where us black folk flourish, where we get our artistic stuff on, where we get exposed to stuff. They don't want us exposed. And in the meantime, they're killing these kids. The mayor talking about we can't have a Thanksgiving. We can't have more than 10 people in our houses. And they're killing these kids. I'm sorry.
Take your time.
So mad.
Take your time.
I just, Obama talking on this interview, talking about how Trump attracts the hip hop guys, the rappers that want bling and all the rest of that stuff. That's the furthest thing from the truth, man. I went to D.C. I took my daughter because it's very important for my children to really understand how to think critically and avoid the news at all costs, but look at exactly what's going on. And so I took her to that Stop the Steal rally in D.C. on the 14th.
Okay.
And,
let me just say, I haven't talked to anybody who's been to a Trump rally. So let me just say, what was the feeling out there? This is new to me.
It was pretty eye opening. For one, there was no racism going on or nothing like that. I mean, the trouble was coming from the black folk on the perimeter of where we were walking. They were trying to pick fights and like jump in and do stuff, but like the Proud Boys, people don't realize the Proud Boys, they're not even white. They're like white and black and Asian and Mexican and all that. And they were pretty much the security for the rally. They were making sure that these black folk wasn't trying to attack. And it was just so peaceful. It was like everybody was not there for Trump. They were there for freedom. Stop this voter fraud. This COVID is a mess. It's not even true. It was like, America is great. It's the greatest country in the world. Why do black folks always complain about
We built it, fam. We built it. But I got to get to another call. But I want to thank you, fam. I appreciate it. And it was interesting because I had never talked to nobody who'd been to a Trump rally. So it was interesting having because I don't know. I'm happy it was peaceful. But I can't get down with the Proud Boys in them. But I'm happy it was peaceful. I'm happy that you made it out safely and in one piece. I'm happy that you made it out safe and all of that good stuff. I'm happy that you got back home. Sometimes stuff can go left though. So, and I understand you don't want no kind of stuff where you can't have stuff with your family, but it is COVID and COVID is real. I want to just reiterate that COVID is real and you don't want to be somewhere coughing and your lungs fill up and you got all kinds of problems and then that death's door somewhere. Now you might be fine. People are asymptomatic. Some people don't have no problem. Some people have very little problem. Some people have problems and don't die, and it lasts well into the future. So please, family, this is not a hoax. I know there's some black YouTubers who said that, but please take COVID seriously. I would so appreciate that. I'm going to 804. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello?
What's going on, 804?
Oh, wow. Thank you for taking my call. Thank you so very much for taking my call. I'm very thankful this Thanksgiving for you and for Tone and for all the hard work that you all do. I just want to say that, so thank you so much. Having said that, what I wanted to say is that what always disturbed me about Obama, and I didn't see the interview that he did with the Breakfast Club, but he announced his candidacy for president, for him running for president, on the same day that Tavis Smiley was having his State of the Black America Forum. And that never sat with me well on a spiritual base level. I've always felt like that was his way of undermining our movement as American blacks, ADOS. So I just wanted to echo what the caller before last said about us being spiritually dead. I refuse to believe that I'm the only one who felt that, who noticed that, who sensed that. But I didn't vote for him the first time. I voted for Cynthia McKinney the first time because I just thought that was in poor taste. I thought it was undermining, Black America's efforts. I thought it was disrespectful to Tavis Smiley. I just thought it was in poor taste and that he was not for us at that time. So, that's my offering, and I just wanted to share that. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. That seems that's a cosign, fam. We spiritually dead. Woo, that's a lot. That's a lot, fam. I just want to say it. You just gotta call a spade a spade. I'm going now to 773. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Maybe. I'm also from Chicago.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm doing great. I kind of disagree with the last caller. You can't blame Lori for Eddie being drunk in the car. That's just...
See, I don't know who she's talking about. I don't know who she's talking about. Who was drunk? That was what he was. He'd been partying. He was drunk in the car. Who was Eddie? The police chief? Whatever? Who was he? Who was
the police chief. He got caught. What he did was he lied. Got caught sleeping behind the wheel of the car.
Okay.
And, later on they found out at the party, they had a party, he was drinking, nor that he had a shift. So there's nobody fault to us that you get caught. And then supposedly he got caught with a woman.
Oh.
So he brought that on himself. And he's married too, so that's a long story. That's his business, but I'm not going to put that off on Lori Lightfoot. Not at all.
Gotcha.
I don't think most people in Chicago would tell you that he brought that on himself. Another thing that I want to get to, I sent you some emails. I was the brother that was called last, I believe, 2 months ago about the guy, Pedro Soto.
In
Chicago, and I was telling you about, the $1 billion loan.
That was a great story.
What I'm planning on doing about next week is going down at Lori Lightfoot's office, and I'm demanding that if they got $1 billion ahead of us already on those loans, and I want them to give out the business names of who received part of that. I'm doing a lot of stuff I'm trying to get done. But what I want addressed is, because I feel like if we get these loans coming up in 2021, and say they distribute it out, to white, black, Hispanic, Asians on the construction, then they still got an advantage over us. Because they just got $1 billion with these previous years, so how can we compete with that? That means $1 billion can lead to $2 billion. And so it's going to be hard for us to compete with them with that type of advancement that they did. Another thing, though, I marched with Laquan McDonald through the whole Rahm Emanuel situation back in 2015 every day, Yvette.
Okay.
Every day, because I had been a victim of police brutality in Chicago 10 times. 10 times.
A lot of times.
I just beat the state prosecutor in court because we already exposed a lot of stuff. I've been trying to work with a lot of people who have the same. Also, Fred Hampton is a relative of mine. I think people might see me in the comments and saying that, and I'm going to try to get him to reach out. I'm going to try to set something up with you or Tone and see if y'all can talk to Fred Hampton Jr. because what they don't know is they're trying to take Fred Hampton's home. They want to turn it into a museum for the Black Panthers, and the banks and the government are really, really trying to stop us as a whole. He's asking for people to go to SaveTheHamptonHouse.org. Save the Hampton House on GoFundMe and donate because they really putting all this interest on the house because they don't want it to be a museum. And it's a lot going on. I mean, I got to say so much, but I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna try to go for point from point. But with the area they was talking about over there with the library, and like she was right about them raising the rent over there in that area.
Okay.
Remember you did that story on Nancy Green?
Okay.
Ancient Mama. She is buried over there.
Okay.
The first Chicago black mayor is buried over there. A lot of our history, Ida B. Wells is buried over there.
Okay.
So, when they raised that rent and you got other people moving over there, our people buried around all these people that deprived them of who they were and what to become back then. And that's like slave. That's another way we could put us back in chains because they done took over the area that we have. A lot of black businesses are still over there, but I got a feeling with them doing that library that they're going to push a lot of people away. Because who's going to pay the high taxes and stuff that's coming over there?
All right.
But it's just when you see everything that's going down here in Chicago, because there's a lot that they do as far as politics and stuff here, and people shaking hands with each other and stuff like that. And see, when you go to these places like the Illinois Department of Human Rights, I did a situation where I was reported. I was a victim of an Indian man.
Okay, fam. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up in 30 seconds, though. Let's wrap it up for me in 30 seconds. I hear you. And I believe you was a victim.
Okay. But it was an Indian man, and when I made the reports, this is around the time Rahm Emanuel was in office or whatever. And working with the emperor and making complaints against them, I learned that they had a policy where they would take your complaint, but once you make that complaint, they harass you further. So Rahm was a part of like this whole, it was like a gang almost. And see, people didn't know, like at the bottom of the rabbit hole, it was a lot of officers involved in a lot of these police stations. So when a lot of people, I marched about, with them about Laquan McDonald was because I was a victim of that. And so when I heard about that, I got the courage to march. But that's, I will reach out to you on Breaking Brown and
no problem.
give you some info or whatever.
Thank you,
but thank you so much, Yvette, and I just love you so much.
Love you back. I appreciate you, fam. Thank you so much. Well, fam, I'm sorry. That's going to be the end of the show because we're at our 2-hour mark. And I said I was going to start the show early and start ending it where it ends. I apologize to everybody who is in the queue because the queue is always full. I apologize. I'm trying to get back to people to wrap it up. But I apologize, fam. But please, while you're there, hit that like button. Before I even say hit the like button, have a happy holiday. Don't go to nobody's house if you don't have to go to nobody's house. Make your own little macaronis or whatever you want to eat, green beans, snap peas, or whatever you want to eat. You don't need to. Let's not get to spreading the COVID around. That's not a good thing that we want to do. And it does exist. I don't care what MAGA gotta say. It does exist, and it's hitting us disproportionately. And you don't want to get the coughing and can't stop, and you get in the ICU and you have to be intubated and all that. And we don't want to see that. We don't want that, family. So please kind of follow the instructions. Please do that, fam. Hit the like button, hit the bell. If you want to donatebrown.com, $. No. What am I saying? $, Breaking Brown. If you want to do that, donatebrown.com, patreon.com/WhyCarnell. If you want to do all of that. Yes, fam. If you want to make the mashed potatoes, make your mashed potatoes. But mashed potatoes ain't nothing without gravy. I always understand that if you ain't got no brown gravy, I don't know what you doing with your life. So please, fam, make sure that you take care of yourself and make sure that you take care of your loved ones on this season. And I don't know if it's anybody. I know you're gonna miss people, but ain't nobody that important. Whatever if you're doing vegan, if you're gonna do butterball, whatever you're doing, I cast no judgment. But I think I cast judgment if you can't stay inside your house and make yourself some dressing or some cornbread or whatever. But I think dressing go with the turkey. But listen, or whatever you eat. I'm just saying. Like, why even try it? Why even deal with it? Why even try? Oh, somebody said wings with honey. See, people doing all. No, nobody, ain't nobody. I'm not doing nobody's chitlins now. But I do love a nice potato salad. Anyway, fam, let me get out of here before I get hungry. It's too late to be eating. Everybody be easy breezy. Take care of yourselves. Stay COVID free. We don't want no coughing and symptoms after the fact. And we will talk again next time.